Hi guys, and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be previewing the upcoming FA Cup third round fixture between Everton and Lincoln City at Goodison Park tomorrow on Saturday. A massive game for Marco Silva, a win desperately needed. We need to get back to winning ways. We need to get back on track, and I think this game's a massive opportunity to do so. Look, we're playing a League 2 opposition. However, in saying that, these are the team that are going to come, they're going to fight, they're going to want to play football, and they've got a point to prove. They've got a point to prove against the Premier League side. They had a good FA Cup run, I think it was 2 years ago, so it's not going to be an easy game. And if we play how we've been playing recently, i.e. against Leicester and Brighton, then we could have a really tough game on our hands. You know, Lincoln aren't going to come, and they're not going to sit back and just say, you know what, you have the ball and we're just happy to be here. It's just a day out for us. They're not going to do that. Lincoln are going to want to come, press us high, and play some nice football, and you know, at the end of the day, they're going to want to come and get a win and get through to the next round. It's a massive game for them, but it's equally a massive game for us. We need the win here. Listen, with the way our season's been going so far, you know, we started well, and then we've had a little bit of a dip in form recently. It's looking now like we're not really going to break into that top 6. At best, we're probably going to get 7th, and with that, you know, we desperately need a good cut run. And then if we fall short of 7th and we've had a really good cut run, then you can say, okay, there's room to improve. But you know, Marco Silva's taken us so far in the FA Cup. Who knows, you know, if you beat Lincoln tomorrow and then you go on and get a nice easy home draw in the next round, you win that, then you suddenly get into the 5th round, and Wembley's on the horizon then, and things are starting to look good. So it's really important that we take this game seriously, and it's really important that whoever Marco Silva puts out, they go out and they fight, and we get the job done. Look, you know, you only have to look at the Burnley game, Premier League opposition away from home. Within the first 20 minutes, by 3:20, it was done. It was done. We'd won the game, and that's what we need to do again tomorrow. We can't be messing about. We can't be lackadaisical, and we certainly can't be just waltzing around the pitch thinking that we're better than them, and that, you know, whatever happens, we're going to win the game anyway, because that's not how these things work. Samuel Allsop says, good evening to you too. Let me just tweet the stream out so everybody knows we are live today. Done a live stream yesterday as well. Massive thank you for all the support on that one. Couple of bits on Twitter there. I'll ignore them until after the video. I don't want to get covered up in Twitter. So I've just tweeted the team out there, so everybody on Twitter will now know that we are live. But like I said, massive game for Marco Silva, a massive win needed. I do expect some squad rotation. I do. Listen, I think with any cup game, any FA Cup game, especially games at home and games against teams that are a little bit of a weaker opposition, and with all due respect to Lincoln, there's always going to be changes to the side. I don't know whether there'll be enough changes as the team that I've predicted, which we'll go through in just a minute, but there's bound to be changes, just because obviously it's a cup game, and because we've played a lot of games recently over the Christmas period. We played a lot of games in such a short period of time, so players like Andre Gomez can afford to come out of this game and have a little bit of a rest. I would assume that Theo Walcott would come out and have a little bit of a rest as well, considering his recent performances haven't been up to scratch. And Marco Silva confirmed Ademola Lookman is fit today in his pre-game press conference. So what better way to go on to than to talk about Marco Silva's pre-game press conference? He had a 3 o'clock today. He didn't say much other than the stuff that would expect to hear from him, I suppose. He gave a lot of respect to Lincoln, which I think we have to do. I don't think we're in a position to disrespect Lincoln and to say, yeah, we've won this game anyway. I think if we do that, it could go really bad. But he gave a lot of respect to Lincoln. Obviously, he said they're going to be coming and they're going to be wanting to get the win, but it's our job, it's our obligation. He actually said, they were his words, it's our obligation to get the win tomorrow. He did seem confident. He was asked about the FA Cup. He was asked about, obviously, the Carabao Cup, and now, you know, all the changes he made in that game against Southampton and bringing Stecklenberg in, and whether he was going to adopt the same, you know, sort of strategy for this game. He basically said that whichever team he picks will be a team good enough to beat Lincoln, and then he said, you know, this is a competition that we take very seriously at Everton. He said the fans take it very seriously, and we as a club should take it very seriously as well, and it's a competition that we're definitely going to look to push forward in and win. Like I've mentioned there before, he did confirm Ademola Lookman is fit. He said if he decides to make the choice, Ademola Lookman is ready, he's fit to come on and to, you know, to play the game, to start the game, and hopefully to tear it up. Let's hope anyway. He then just said that, you know, the general bits and bobs. He addressed a rumour with James McCarthy supposedly being rumoured to be transferring to West Bromwich Albion, and Umar Niasse as well, and he basically said that at the moment that they are just rumours at the minute, and that he's got no intentions of loaning anybody else out, and at the minute Sorry, at the minute, there's no plans to sell anybody either. And then finally, he rubbished the rumours about Malcolm as well. He said that there's nothing in the rumours about Malcolm. There's been a couple of rumours in the last couple of days that Barcelona midfielder Malcolm, if you remember him, we tried to sign him in the summer and failed. Basically, he was going from, I don't know where he actually started. It was a big, massive circle. He was coming to us, and then he was going to Roma. He was about to sign the contract for Roma, turned around, got on the plane to Barcelona, apparently, so that is what it is. But Marco Silva has said that there's absolutely nothing in the rumours linking him to Everton. He said that, you know, there's been the rumours have been saying that he might be coming on loan. Obviously, that can't happen with Andre Gomes being on loan. Would have to make one of them a permanent signing. But anyway, it's irrelevant because Marco Silva said that it's not happening, or there's nothing in it as of yet. Anyway, Sam says, I would love to see James McCarthy start. Me too. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Chaba says he didn't say anything. I missed yesterday's one. I was working. No problem at all, mate. No problem at all. So, yeah, what better way than to go into my predicted starting 11. So, I'll have to get it up on the screen here. There's a couple of quite significant changes. I don't want to cock anything up. So, I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Now, every single week, every other game, I say Jordan Pickford in goal. That's self-explanatory. Don't need to sit here and explain it. You know, it is what it is. But I feel like I do have to explain it for this game a little bit because, you know, we all know what happened in the Carabao Cup fixture against Southampton at home. Marco Silva opted to have Martin Stecklenberg in goal. That didn't work at all. Martin Stecklenberg got a lot of stick. A lot of fans saying he shouldn't play for Everton. Again, he wasn't fantastic on that day. And it caused a discussion with a lot of Evertonians saying there's absolutely no need to change your goalkeeper for cup competitions. Okay, you might need changes throughout the pitch, you might need changes, I don't know, centre midfield, up front, whatever, but there's no need to change your goalkeeper. The goalkeeper should be fit to start every single game, and Jordan Pickford should be ready to start every game. There's no reason for him to possibly need the rest. Now, I don't know where to go with that. I dare say, you know, there probably is a reason Jordan Pickford would need a rest. However, I would definitely go with Jordan Pickford tomorrow. I don't think we've got any room for a mistake, especially with the form that we've been on. You know, if we'd have gone and took 15 points out of the Christmas fixtures, or we'd gone and beaten Leicester, beating Brighton, you know, beating Watford, beating Newcastle at home, then you could probably say, okay, let's, you know, if he changes the team a little bit around against Lincoln and we don't make the next round of the cup, at least we've got something going for us in the league. At least we're pushing that top 5 or 6 in the league, but we're not. That's the realistic, you know, situation at the minute. We're not pushing there. You know, Leicester are above us. They've just beaten us, so they've gone 4 points clear of us, I think. So we're not. So we really need to make sure that we get this win. And I think, really, I don't want to say our season large on the FA Cup, but I think a successful season for Marco Silva in obviously his first year would rely on a good FA Cup run, and certainly a run that sees us get through by beating Lincoln in the 3rd round. So for me, I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. John Joe Kenny keeps his place at right back for me. If you've seen yesterday's live stream, the game review, to the Leicester game, you'll see I was full of praise for John Joe Kenny. I think he was the best player in an Everton shirt against Leicester. I think he'd done himself really, really well. I think it was sort of the old John Joe Kenny, the John Joe Kenny that we're used to seeing in the, you know, the academy, playing for the under-23s, throwing tackles in, winning the ball, tenacious, not afraid to go forward. He keeps his place, of course, and Seamus Coleman, you know, isn't in the best of form. Anyway, on the other side, I've gone for Leighton Baines. Leighton Baines taking the captain's armband, of course. Now, this one might cause a little bit of discussion. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. If you're watching as a live stream, let me know what you think in the live comments about this change. For me, I don't think it's a necessity that Lucas Dean comes out. But I think that we will see that change. I think that Leighton Baines will come in. Look, you know, Lucas Dean's been absolutely revelational since he come in at Everton. He's been fantastic. I think he's played a lot of games. Yeah, you know, he's only really, when you look at it, had one poor game, if you like, if you'd even want to call it a poor game, in an Everton shirt. But I think for me, he probably does deserve a little bit of a rest. And, you know, it's not a Premier League fixture. It is a fixture against a team in a lower league. You know, it's an FA Cup game. Leighton Baines is more than capable of stepping in. It's not like we're bringing Lucas Dean out and putting, you know, a kid in from the academy that's never had any experience, or we're putting somebody in that we know is total garbage, aka Cuco Martina. We're putting, you know, an experienced left-back in, one of the best of his generation, certainly when he was in his prime, definitely the best in the Premier League when he was in his prime. So, you know, we're putting an experienced head in, and definitely someone that's capable and got the ability still, even now, to, you know, beat a Lincoln City and to put in a top performance. I think that's only fair. Leighton Baines probably isn't going to get a lot of opportunities to play in a Royal Blue Everton shirt again. So, you know, the ones he's got to take, and I think this will be one tomorrow. I think Leighton Baines will come in, we'll see him at Goodison Park. Obviously, he'll get a massive cheer. I think Marco Silva understands that, the fans understand that, you know, Luca Dean is the left-back, the #1 choice left-back. He is going to play week in, week out if he is fit, and the only times he's not going to play are through injury or through a situation like this where he's taken out as just a little bit of a rest and maybe a week off for the lad, because let's be honest, he's been absolutely fantastic, but he probably does deserve a little bit of a break, and, you know, Leighton Baines is more than good enough to step in and to do that job. So I've gone for Yerry Mina and Kurt Zouma at centre-half. Now, for me, the only change there, obviously, is Yerry Mina coming in for Michael Keane. I thought Michael Keane was poor against Leicester. I really do. I think he had a poor game. I think he struggled. I think he's been fantastic this season, Michael Keane. I really do. I think he's been absolutely fantastic for the whole of this season, if you like, but he did struggle against Leicester City, let's be honest. Obviously, it was his mistake that led to the goal. He was poor all game, I think. His heading, his passing was poor, and I think, you know, Yerry Mina previously against Brighton, against Manchester City, he's had poor games as well, but I think, you know, it's time now to really find what our two centre-halves are, who our two centre-halves are, who our best centre-back partnership is, and I think, you know, Marco Silva's only going to do that by trying the different centre-back partnerships and playing them. I think Yerry Mina next to Kurt Zouma is definitely one that at the start of the season, a lot of Evertonians would said that had been our centre-back partnership before we seen a ball kicked in the Premier League, before we knew that Michael Keane was going to be, you know, a revelation this season as well, before we knew he was going to take it a step up, take himself up a level. I think a lot of Evertonians will have said, okay, it's Kurt Zouma and Yerry Mina as the two main centre-halves. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that works if Marco Silva goes for that. Plus, it'll do Michael Keane a good job to get a little bit of a rest, and I think we can reevaluate the centre-back situation going into the next couple of Premier League games, because we've got a lot of winnable games in January, and we've got a lot of winnable games in the next sort of month or so as well. So for me, Yerry Mina and Kurt Zouma in the centre-back positions. I've gone for a whole different midfield. I've gone for James McCarthy, Tom Davies and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Now, we'll start with Tom. I think Tom is bound to start this game. I really do. I think Marco Silva does rate Tom quite highly. He obviously doesn't rate him as high as Idrissa Gana Gueye or Andre Gomez, and that's fair enough. I think we can all agree that Tom Davies isn't as good as them two players. Certainly not as good as Andre Gomez on the ball and with passing and getting forward and things like that. But I think in a game like this, it's suited to him. You know, it'll be a test physically. He'll have to be strong, he'll have to be tenacious, he'll have to put himself about, he'll have to make sure that he's using his body well and he's passing the ball well, and, you know, every single opportunity he gets to pass the ball, he's doing it, and he's doing that perfectly. There's no room for error in this game for me. If Tom Davies hides in this game and he's making mistakes and he's making errors, then I think it will say a lot to Marco Silva that, you know, maybe this lad isn't even ready to play against League 2 opposition in an FA Cup game. I think this is a massive game for him and a massive opportunity to prove himself, because if he wants to be anywhere near a Premier League squad or a Premier League Everton squad within the next 2 or 3 years, he needs to prove that he can do it in these games against the, you know, the lower opposition. In the cup games, he needs to prove that he can go out and people can watch him and go, you know what, he was fantastic today, standout player on the pitch. And I think that, you know, tomorrow is a perfect opportunity for Tom to do that. I've gone for James McCarthy next to him. Now, this is one I would absolutely love to see. I love James McCarthy, I really do. I absolutely love him. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I think his career's been unfortunately tainted by injuries, which, you know, there's not much you can do about that. But he is back fit. He's 100% fit. Marco Silva said it for a couple of weeks now. When he decides to make that decision, when he decides to bring James McCarthy back into the squad, he will be fit and he will be ready. And I think this is the game that Marco Silva will do that. You know, I think James has been fit now for quite a while, but Marco Silva's been, you know, sort of reluctant to put him in. We've had a lot of Premier League games. Some people could say, why wasn't he put in during this Christmas period? I think Marco Silva's probably looking at him and thinking, you know what, these games are tough, they're gritty, they're hard, you're still recovering from a really poor injury, we don't want to put you in, and, you know, you end up being, you know, injured again, or you end up picking up a little knock, a little strain, and then being out for another 3 or 4 months. Whereas I think this is the perfect game. It's going to be gritty enough for James McCarthy, it's going to be, you know, powerful enough, it's going to be strong enough, and Lincoln are going to come with a real presence to want to win the game. So it's a perfect game, if you like, for James McCarthy to break back into the starting 11, to break back in to, obviously, the first team. And who knows, he might go on, he might have a fantastic game tomorrow, and then Marco Silva might look and go, right, you're playing in the next 3 or 4 Premier League games, and we'll see how you go then. But for me, I would love to see James McCarthy playing. I think he's a fantastic footballer, he deserves his opportunity. Let's not forget, this man injured himself defending a goal. If he wouldn't have put his foot in front of Rondon's leg, it could have, you know, we could have lost that game. We could have conceded the goal in that game that we didn't need to. So I think he more than deserves his opportunity to come in, and I do think tomorrow will be that chance. So before we go into the front four, I'm just going to read some of the live comments. I've noticed there's been quite a few. John says 2 teams in 2 days, and we're getting lucky. Keep up the good work, mate. Thank you very much for that. We've had a really busy period, and I love the I love making the content. I love streaming. I love making videos. I love all of it for you guys. So just lucky that Everton played a load of game. Well, I say lucky, we've been absolutely awful. So are we lucky? Are we not? I don't really know. Sam says we must be clinical. They may be a League 2 side, but they are not to be underestimated. 100%. And you know, that comment is absolutely spot on. Lincoln City are currently top of League 2, and they are not to be underestimated. They'll be bringing a load of fans tomorrow. They will. They'll be coming in their support. And you listen, for them, they're coming to win this game. They're coming to a Premier League stadium. They won't have been to many in their time. They won't have played in front of such a big crowd. They won't have played, you know, with a lot of fantastic footballers on the pitch. I'm not saying that we're amazing, but, you know, let's be honest, a lot of our team is made up of fantastic footballers. So they will be coming out and they will be wanting to win this game. We have to give them as much respect as we can. We are not in a position to sit back and go, we're not going to respect Lincoln, we'll breeze this game, don't even worry about it, and then be 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go and go, nah, they'll flop, we'll still win it, because it won't work. We need to give them the utmost respect. We need to shake hands at the start and say, listen, first 20 minutes here, we're going to run through you, we're going to play nice, lovely attacking football, we're going to break forward, we're going to put 3 in the back of the net in 20 minutes like we did against Burnley, and then we can maybe make some changes, and then we can sit back and go, okay, now we can sort of reevaluate and start thinking about, you know, players' fitnesses and injuries and things like that. But we need to take this game as serious as we would take any Premier League game, and that might sound stupid, but that's just the position we are in at the moment. We need to play this game as if it was a derby. We need to play this game as if it was Manchester City away. We need to be that serious about it, because an FA Cup run for me is massively needed, not just for us as fans, but for Marco Silva as well, especially with how the league form's going at the minute. We need to have a really good run in this cup to salvage sort of anything from our season. So I don't think we can underestimate Lincoln. You're absolutely right. Sam also says Beningame should get a chance. I think Beningame would be on the bench. I think, you know, Tom Davies is pretty much guaranteed to be in there. Not that he is, you know, he might be on the bench as well, but I think Tom Davies will get his opportunity, and I do think James McCarthy will come in as well. I think Benny will be on the bench and will probably be looked to be brought on, you know, if we've ended the game within the 90 minutes, if we've put 3 past Lincoln by half time, then Marco Silva may look to bring a Benny Beningame on and make a couple of changes and give a couple of the young lads a little bit of a run out as well. Mitchell says, hello Cameron, may found your channel through Toffee TV. ATB, thank you very much. Hello to you too. I hope you are enjoying the stream. I hope you're enjoying the videos. I hope you enjoy the channel. Thank you very much. Anybody that's in the live chat, please don't forget to like the stream. If you're watching it as a video as well afterwards, then please do like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We've just hit 200 subscribers. Absolutely fantastic support from you guys recently. It's unbelievable. It's overwhelming. So thank you very much for that. But anyway, going on to the front four. Very interesting front four. I think a front four that a lot of people will be excited to see. I think for a front four that a lot of people would like to see. Going with Bernard on the left, Ademola Lookman on the right, Sigurdsson as the number 10, and Cenk Tosun up front. Now, we'll talk about them individually, of course. Starting with Bernard on the left, I think Bernard needs to come in. Obviously, we've seen him come off the bench against Leicester. You know, Richarlison started on the left, wasn't fantastic all game, and that's why I've kept Richarlison out. I think, you know, for me, Bernard has been our best attacking player in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I really do. I think, you know, when you look at Bernard and you look at his capabilities and you look at how just skillful of a footballer he is, yes, he mightn't have the best final finish. He mightn't have the best, you know, shooting ability. He mightn't wear the best boots to put the ball in the back of the net. But I think in terms of a player that can get himself into a nice position and put a dangerous ball into the box, we haven't got many like Bernard. And when Richarlison plays on that left-hand side, he doesn't do that enough for me. He cuts inside, and yes, he looks to put the ball in the back of the net, and you can't complain about that. And yes, he's probably more clinical than Bernard is, but I think for me, we need a player on that left-hand side that will cut in, that will tear Lincoln apart, and that will put constant balls into the box for whoever the striker is, whether that be Cenk Tosun, whether that be Dominic Calvert-Lewin, whether that be Richarlison, who knows. But for me, I think Bernard works on the left more than Richarlison does. I really do. I think Richarlison works better as a striker, because I think when he's on the left, he's just a little bit too greedy. And, you know, obviously he wasn't fantastic against Brighton. We mentioned it in the game review today. He spends a lot of his time on the floor moaning. He's not going to be able to do that tomorrow. If Richarlison plays, he's going to get kicked because we're playing a League 2 opposition that aren't going to be here to pussyfoot about. They're not going to be here to throw themselves on the floor. They're going to be here to kick, get the ball, and go forward at us, you know. Old-fashioned, proper football, some would say. But I think it's important for me that we've got a player like Bernard, as skillful as Bernard, with his experience, Champions League player, obviously, playing against teams like Manchester City last season for Shakhtar Donetsk. A player like that, this could be his game, that, you know, he breaks his scoring form, he breaks his deadlock, he gets a goal. This could be a game where you go, you know what, he's absolutely fantastic and he should be in the team week in, week out. So for me, Bernard starts on the left. I've gone for Ademola Lookman on the right. Ademola Lookman, of course, has been deemed fit for the first time. For the first time in a couple of weeks, Ademola Lookman has been deemed fit by Marco Silva in his pre-game press conference today. He said that, you know, he's fit. If he makes that decision, he will start him. It's a no-brainer. For me, this one really is a no-brainer. Ademola Lookman has to come in for me. And I think there's a lot of reasons Ademola Lookman has to come in. I think when you look at it on the outside, you'd say he deserves his chance. Calvert-Lewin's had his chance. John Joe Kenny is getting his opportunity at the minute. I know he's only had one game, but I'm sure he'll have a run of form as well. Richarlison's had his opportunity. Bernard has. It's only fair that Ademola Lookman gets his opportunity. I think on the surface, you look at Ademola Lookman and you think you can be an absolutely fantastic footballer. You really can, but you just need to keep at it. You need to keep your attitude right. You need to keep your head in the game, and you need to make sure that when you're on the pitch, you're doing the basics before you're doing anything else, and then you can be a fantastic footballer. But I think first and foremost, he deserves his opportunity. Secondly, if you didn't need another reason to put Ademola Lookman in, then, you know, we've got one anyway. Theo Walcott has been really poor recently. He has. There's no hard in that. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to hang him out to dry, and I'm not going to say, you know, Theo's been awful, worst playing on the pitch, shouldn't come near the Everton team again, shouldn't wear an Everton shirt again. Because for me, I think last season when he come in this time last year, I think Theo was absolutely fantastic. He done really well in that sort of 3 or 4 months towards the end of last season. He hasn't got it started this season. He hasn't done as well as he ended last season, and specifically the last couple of weeks, he has been poor. He really has. His confidence is shockingly low. His touch is appalling at the minute. He can't hit a barn door with a banjo. So for me, Theo has to come out for his confidence. And I think it just so happens that with the introduction of Ademola Lookman becoming fit again, and with Ademola Lookman getting his opportunity, I think it just coincides with the fact that Theo isn't confident at the minute and probably does need to come out. And, you know, I think all of that coincides with the fact that this is an FA Cup fixture, and if Marco Silva's looking at Theo Walcott and saying you're going to be playing week in, week out in the Premier League, then he needs to be looking at giving him a rest. And if you've got a player like Ademola Lookman, who may be the next best thing, maybe a player that we look to, you know, bring into the team week in, week out within the next few months or year or so, then he needs to get game time as well, and this is the perfect game for me. So Ademola Lookman comes in. I've gone for Gylfi Sigurdsson in the number 10. That is pretty self-explanatory. I think with the changes that we've made to this squad, I think with the changes that Marco Silva will make to this squad, we need to make sure that we've got at least, you know, a couple of players in there that have played consistent Premier League football this season and that have got the ability to, you know, turn it on when it matters. Have got the ability that if it's going wrong, just say, you know what, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck and I'm going to put in a really top individual performance, and Gylfi Sigurdsson is definitely one of them players. I think he needs to not hide in this game, and that's not a criticism of Gylfi Sigurdsson. I'm not sitting here saying, you know, he hides too much, he's not good enough. I think he's been fantastic this season, but I do think in some games he hides and he steps back and he sort of just fades out of the game, if you like. I think it's important for Gylfi that he's on the ball constantly tomorrow, and he is dictating the playing. He is the player that, you know, is spreading the ball to the wingers, is spreading the ball to the centre forward, is getting the ball from the centre midfield. I think this is a massive game for Gylfi. Yes, Marco Silva may take him out. He may say, you know, we're going to rest him. He's played a lot of football. But for me, he needs to stand out in this game, because at the end of the day, just on the surface, you know, without even doing any research, Gylfi Sigurdsson cost Everton, you know, upwards 45 to 50 million pounds. He's a Premier League player. He should be one of the best playmakers in the Premier League, and just on that alone, he should be you know, have more than enough to go into this game against Lincoln and make the, you know, and look like the best player in world football. He really should. So for me, massive game needed for Gylfi Sigurdsson as well. Now up front, there was options. There was Richarlison, there was Dominic Calvert-Lewin, there was Umar Niasse, there was Cenk Tosun. I've ended up going with Cenk Tosun up front. I think that for me, this is probably his final chance, his final opportunity. We're into the January transfer window now. We're 4 days in. of course, you know, we're well into the window. The rumours are flying. The rumours regarding Cenk Tosun are flying. Will he still be here by the end of January? Will he not? Marco Silva said that he will be, and that he doesn't want to sell him. For me, this is a massive opportunity for Cenk Tosun, and he needs to take it. He really does. If he starts this game tomorrow, and I think he will, he needs to go out and he needs to prove that, you know, these are League 2 opposition, and we shouldn't, you know, underestimate them, and we should give them the greatest respect, the top of League 2. But if Cenk Tosun can't do it against, you know, League 2 defenders and against defenders that are playing in a much lower, a lower league than him, and playing, you know, football that isn't anywhere near the level of the Premier League, then is he ever going to be able to cut it at Everton? Let's be honest. For me, he needs to take this game by the scruff of the neck as well. He needs to make sure he's taking his opportunities. He had a really good one against Leicester. He got in the box and he hit it straight at Kasper Schmeichel. That was his opportunity, and I don't know what's going on with Cenk at the minute. I really like Cenk Tosun. I think he's a top man. I think he's a good footballer, and I think, you know, maybe in a different Premier League team, he'd look really, really good, and he'd be able to do it week in, week out. I think at Everton at the minute, he's not looking like that, but for me, it starts with him. It starts with the player. He needs to be taking his opportunities. He needs to be putting the ball in the back of the net, and if he gets his opportunity tomorrow, I think this probably will be one of his final games. Certainly, this will be the game that, you know, makes Marco Silva make his decision. If he goes out and he scores 2 or 3, and he looks fantastic, Silva might say, okay, let's bed you in now to the Premier League squads and let's see how you go. If he plays this game and he doesn't hardly touches the ball and we don't see anything, then Marco Silva will probably be saying, okay, you know, let's look to get rid, because he's clearly not good enough to be in our 18 week in, week out in the Premier League. Now, I don't know what's going on with Cenk. Like I said, it may just be a goal drought. He may just literally need 1 goal and that's it. He's then on fire then for the rest of the season. He's putting goals in the back of the net like it's bloody jelly beans in a jar. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. I don't know what it is with Cenk. I don't know whether he's just not good enough. I don't know whether he's just really lacking confidence and, you know, he needs that goal. I don't know, but this is the perfect game for him to come in and get that goal and, you know, get a good run of form for himself going as well. Keenan says, competing with Toffee TV here, awesome stuff. Thank you very much, mate. That's honestly, thank you very, very much for that. You know, Toffee TV are unbelievable. Lads over there do a fantastic job. Been on there a couple of times, of course. Was on there literally last week. Baz and Ped are absolutely fantastic, and to even be compared to competing with them is a real, you know, a real honour. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, going on to the game, obviously, like we briefly mentioned, Lincoln City are top of League 2. I think they're about 4 points clear at the top. Look, it's a massive game. It's a game of, like we mentioned before, that we need to go in like we would any other Premier League game. We need to go into this game thinking that we're playing Manchester City away. We need to go into this game thinking that we're playing Liverpool at Anfield, because if we don't, we could be in danger of getting turned over. And, you know, with our recent form and the lack of confidence, I'd say, in the squad at the minute, with the fact that the players aren't, you know, particularly confident, with the fact that we've played a lot of games in such a short period of time. I mean, even looking at my predicted starting 11 there, you've got Bernard, who's played a lot of games. You've got Mina Zuma, who have played a lot of games. You've got Gylfi Sigurdsson, who have played a lot of games as well. For me, I think we need to go out. We need to give Lincoln the utmost respect. We need to say, okay, we're not going to act like we're going to turn you over. We're not going to disrespect you. You play your game, we'll play ours. And, you know, hopefully we are more than good enough to finish this game in the first 10-15 minutes. If we do that, and if we play like we did against Burnley, if we go out and we think we've won this game already before we've even kicked the ball, we're in danger of a massive upset. Look, I think Lincoln will know that we're on poor form. Lincoln will know that the last couple of Premier League games we haven't been fantastic. We've been very lazy. We've been very lack of confidence. We've been very, you know, down, very just heads down and just plotting along the game. Lincoln will know that, and they will try and exploit that, and they will want to get at us. So it's important that we go at them as well. And, you know, listen, over anything, first and foremost, we need a good FA Cup run this season. We really do, because if we're going to afford to lose games away from home against the top teams, if we're going to afford to drop points, I said it at the start of the season, look, I don't mind if we, you know, aren't at the level to beat a Manchester United at Old Trafford, to beat a Liverpool at Anfield, to beat a Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, but we need to make sure we're at a level to beat Brighton, Watford, Newcastle, Leicester, all at Goodison Park, teams like that. And what we've proven so far in the last couple of weeks, couple of months, that we aren't at the level to beat the top teams away from home, but we're not also even at the level to beat the, you know, the easier teams at home, especially when things are, you know, not going well and when we're lacked of confidence. So an FA Cup run for me is massive. It's something that Marco Silva should definitely be looking at. I think just from his comments in his pre-game press conference, I think he is looking at it. He stated that this is very, very important, that, you know, he's taking this game seriously, that whatever squad he puts out, whatever team he puts out, whichever players he chooses, are going to be more than good enough to you know, get the win, and more than good enough to take us to the next round, and I think that's massively important. He also mentioned a couple of times that it's our obligation to win this game, so I would only be able to assume from them words that Marco Silva is going to go out and give everything he has, and have the team give everything they have to win this game of football, and that's what we need to do. We can't just sit back and think, you know, we've definitely won this, we're going to turn these over, these are poor, because they're not poor. You know, yes, they might be a couple of leagues below us, but they're not poor. They're, you know, they're a decent side, and they're going to come and they're going to want to fight, and they've got the capability to upset us, especially with the way we've been going recently. I mean, bloody, my nephew's under sixes, and he doesn't even play for an under sixes, but my nephew's under sixes could beat Everton at the minute. As long as they were confident and had somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net. So I think it's important that we go at this game with confidence. I think it's important that we respect Lincoln City and we get the job done professionally. And like Marco Silva said, it's our obligation to win this game, and that's what we need to do. Jack says, do you believe Marco Silva is the man to take us to, or to take you to the next level? I think it is. I think he is. I think, you know... Sorry, I think he's got a lot of stick recently. I think a lot of fans are jumping on his back. Maybe too early. In my opinion, it's too early. But I think he probably is the person to take us to the next level. Look, I think what happens with a lot of fans, especially Evertonians, is that we get to a point when things aren't going well, that we say, right, move on. He isn't the man. You know, he's not good enough. We need to change. And I think... Sorry, got a bit of a throggy throat. I think at the minute, some Evertonians are in that cycle. Some Evertonians are there and thereabout. For me, Marco Silva very clearly is the right man. Listen, a lot of Evertonians said when Marco Silva first come in, he needs 3 or 4 transfer windows to sort this mess out. And he does. And we can't now say, after 1 transfer window in 5 months, right, he's not the right man. Knock it on the head, sack him. We need to give him his opportunity. We need to be patient with this squad. Look at all the players he's brought in. Luca Dean, Richarlison, Bernard, Yerry Mina, Kurt Zuma and Andre Gomez, all absolutely fantastic, starting week in, week out. Not one of them you can look and go, you've been poor for Everton. You know, maybe Yerry Mina's had a couple of dodgy performances, but not one of them players you could say, you haven't been worth, you know, the time. You shouldn't be anywhere near this squad. You couldn't. So I think it's important that we give Marco Silva and Marcel Brands a couple of more transfer windows, and you know, we really need to see if he is the man to take us forward, because at the minute, for me, he is, and the shouts to get him sacked are just rash. They really are rash. Listen, I'm not saying he's been perfect. I'm not saying it's all the players' fault, and I'm not saying tactically Marco Silva's been fantastic. He's got some games wrong, massively wrong tactically. He really has, but that's part of learning, and he will learn that. He will learn what he got wrong, and he will learn what he can do and what he can't do. But I think he is the right man. I think it's very premature to say that we should sack him. It's very premature to say that he's not good enough at the minute. Look, I think first and foremost, we need a win tomorrow, but then we need to get our Premier League form back on track. And I think, you know, if we get the win tomorrow and we do it in a decent fashion, I think that will take us momentum-wise, confidence-wise, that will take us into the next couple of very, very winnable Premier League fixtures. And hopefully we'll get that run of form going in the Premier League as well. John says, I love the FA Cup run. There's always big upsets in it, to be honest. Exactly, and that's you know, that's what I'm saying with Lincoln. Let's not underestimate them, because there's always a massive upset in the FA Cup. There really is, and there's no team more prone to a massive upset than Everton. So we need to treat this like a final, if you like. And that people might be watching going, what are you on about treating it like a final? You know, it's Lincoln at home. We should be breezing past them. You're chatting shit. We should be breezing past them. We should. We really should be. But at the end of the day, we should have been breezing past Brighton at home. We should have been breezing past Leicester. We should have been breezing past Newcastle and Watford, and we didn't. In each of them games, Leicester we were beaten, Brighton we were beaten, Watford we scored in the last minute to equalise, and Newcastle could have gone up the other end and scored a goal and won the game in the last minute. So I don't think we're in a position to say we should be breezing past these. Let's not even think about it. I think we have to give them respect, and we have to treat this as a massive game of football. And you know, and that's what Marco Silva will do, I think, especially with the way he's been talking in his pre-game press conference. Shaba says, at the risk of sounding negative, I'm just not feeling it for this game. That's fair enough. I think a lot of Evertonians will be in the same boat. For me, I'm halfy. I think we'll win. I think we'll get through it. I'm very, very... I'm pleased with his comments today, to be honest, in the pre-game press conference. I know they're just comments, and I know, you know, we won't really know how he sets up until tomorrow, but I'm pleased with him saying, you know, we need to treat Lincoln with respect. We need to go out and win this game. It's our obligation to win this game. I love the way he said that, because he is treating this like a competition, like we are. We all love the FA Cup, and we want a massive win tomorrow, and we need a good run in this competition. And I think it's important that Marco Silva's on the same wavelength. I don't think he was for the Carabao Cup. I think he probably did disregard it. I think he probably probably thought, no, we're in an alright run of form in the Premier League, let's just disregard that, you know, and not even think about it. And I think he's seen the backlash from that, and the fact that a lot of fans got on his back and said, what are you doing? We're not in a position to do that. We need a good cup run in either of the cups. And I think he understands that now. Like I said, it's the title of this team. Marco Silva said it's very, 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 very important game for us, and we need to win it. So I am confident. I understand why fans aren't, and you know, listen, I'm not going to be opting to Goodison Park tomorrow. I'm not. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to be there. But for me, as long as I'm sitting here in 24 hours in Everton and in the 4th round of the FA Cup, and you know, we've breezed past Lincoln in a respective way. We've treated them with respect. But at the end of the day, our class has shone through. Then I'll be happy. Vinny says, come on Everton for tomorrow. Yeah, definitely come on Everton. Let's get that win. Let's get, you know, that all-important FA Cup win. And for me, it's more than just an FA Cup win. It's more than just beating Lincoln City at home. You know, it's a win that can give us momentum. It's a win that can give us confidence, which we can then take on to the, you know, our next couple of Premier League games, our next couple of very winnable Premier League games. And, you know, that's massively important because we need to win at some point. So what better way to do it than in the FA Cup against the League 2 opposition at home. But anyway, that is going to do it for this live stream. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please do leave a like. Thank you everybody in the live comments. Thank you everybody for watching this as a video afterwards as well. Massively appreciate all of the support. Like I said, thanks for 200 subscribers. Absolutely massive thanks for that. The support on the channel recently has been unbelievable. It really, really has. Thank you for 10,000 video views altogether. Thanks for 225 Twitter followers. I could go on all day, but thank you all very, very much. Hopefully Marco Silva's Blues get a win tomorrow. I'll be back obviously with the instant match reaction tomorrow after the game, and then the game preview will probably be on Sunday this weekend. I think I'm going out for a couple of drinks after the game, so I'll be with the instant match reaction. That'll be instantly after the game as soon as I get home from Goodison Park, but then we'll do the live game review on Sunday. Hopefully it's a positive one, and hopefully it's one we're sitting here saying we're in the next round of the FA Cup. What a win. Let's hope we take that confidence to the next Premier League games, but who knows, we'll just have to wait for tomorrow. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching this as a video. What do you think of my predicted starting 11? What do you think about this game? Are you confident? Are you not confident? Do you think we can do the job? And do you think Marco Silva will take this game more seriously than he did that Carabao Cup fixture against Southampton? But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. It's been a pleasure as usual. I'll see you tomorrow for the instant match reaction. Hopefully it's a win. Come on you Blues, massive win needed. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.